Good evening, guys.
Recording in progress.
All are getting my screen and voice. Please confirm. So yesterday, just we discussed about the course content. So the total course we have divided into multiple parts. As part one, we are going to discuss Linux and shell scripting. As part two, we are going to discuss AWS cloud. In the AWS cloud, 20 plus services we are going to discuss. Here, I have noted down all the 20 plus services which we are going to discuss in the AWS cloud. As part 3, we are going to discuss DevOps tools, guys. Right, before going to discuss DevOps tools, first I will give the introduction of the DevOps. What is DevOps? Why DevOps? What is SDLC? Methodologies in the SDLC, waterfall methodology, and agile methodology, guys. Right, after that, I will start the DevOps tools as part 4. How many DevOps tools we are going to cover? We are going to cover 15 plus DevOps tools here, guys. Maven, GitHub, Jenkins, SonarQube, Tomcat, Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Docker Swarm, Kubernetes, and some of the monitoring tools and Nexus and Zira. All these tools we are going to discuss in the DevOps, guys. After that, we will discuss the real-time projects, guys. Right, in real time in the companies, tomorrow once you guys join in the company, what you guys need to do, that everything I'm going to show in the real-time project session. Here, whatever the tools we are learning in the DevOps, all the tools we are going to integrate in the real-time project, guys. After that, I'm going to discuss Python scripting, guys. Nowadays, companies are expecting Python scripting also. If you say, I know shell scripting, no, that is not enough. Companies are expecting Python scripting. That's why I'm going to discuss Python scripting also here, guys. After that, I'm going to discuss resume preparation also. I'm going to take separate session on the resume preparation. Right? I will take 2-hour session, right? And I will discuss how to prepare the resume, guys. Okay. So this is our course content, guys. All these things we are going to discuss, guys. Okay. So before jumping into actual things, today I will give overview of the DevOps tools, guys. Right? Why we need to go for the DevOps? Right? What advantage we have with the DevOps, guys? I will give the overview of these DevOps tools. Where we will use Maven, where we will use GitHub, where we will use Jenkins, what is the use of this Sonar, all these tools overview I will give in today's session, guys. Please try to understand. Okay. Fine. See, guys. So if you go to any project, we can see different types of teams, guys. Multiple teams are available. Development team is available, testing team is available, and operations team is available. What development team will do, guys? Development team will develop the application as per client requirement by using some programming languages. What testing team will do? Testing team will test the application whether it is working as per client requirement or not. Who will deploy the application, guys? Who will deliver the application to client? To deliver the application, to deploy the application, operations team is required. Guys, if you go to any project, we can see these teams, guys. Development team, testing team, and operations team. What is the job of development team? Just to develop the application as per client requirement by using some programming language, Java, Python, C#. By using some programming languages, they will develop the application. Here, developers are not responsible to deliver the project to client, guys. Just they are responsible to develop the code as per client requirement, guys. After that, testing team will come and they will test the application whether it is working as per client requirement or not. So then operations team will come and they will deliver the project to client, guys. Okay, these 3 teams are involved, guys. Okay, observe very carefully, guys. In my project, multiple developers are available. Assume multiple developers are available in my project, guys. Right, developer 1, developer 2, developer 3, like this. Multiple developers are available in my project, guys. Right, this is my development team, guys. This is my development team. So what this development team will do? Development team will develop the application as per client requirement. Development team. Right, once development is completed, what they need to do, guys? They need to upload the code into source code repository, guys. They need to upload the code into source code repository. Here we have the source code repository tool, guys. This is the source code repository tool. Source code repo. So developers will upload the code into this source code repository, guys. Once development is completed, they will upload the code into the source code repository. Right? What source code repository will do, that we will discuss later. Just try to understand, guys. Developers will develop the code and they will upload the code into source code repository tool, guys. Now, right, operations team will come. Right, here, whatever the code they have uploaded into the source code repository, we need to deploy that application in the servers, guys. We need to deploy that application in the server. What is the job of development team? Just to develop the application and upload the code into the source code repository. With that, developer's job is completed. So now operations team need to deploy that code, deploy that application in the servers, guys. Right. So now where you have the servers, guys? Where you have the server? Earlier, people will do that server setup and everything in their premises only, in their company only they will do, guys. That is called as in-house or right on-premise setup, guys. Right, in-house or on-premise infrastructure setup means they will create required servers and required infrastructure, everything in their office only. That is called as on-premise infrastructure setup or in-house infrastructure setup, guys. Right, because of that, right, so many challenges are there, guys. So many challenges we need to face. That's why nowadays no one is doing that on-premise setup, guys. Everyone is going with cloud computing only. So now we are going to create the infrastructure. Creating the infrastructure is nothing but creating the servers. Where we are going to creating the servers and all, we are going to creating the servers in the AWS cloud, guys. We are going to creating the servers in the AWS cloud. See here, this is AWS cloud. This is AWS cloud. AWS cloud, guys. Right, in this AWS cloud, I have created one EC2 virtual machine, guys. This is my EC2 Linux virtual machine. This is EC2 Linux virtual machine. EC2 Linux virtual machine. Inside this EC2 Linux virtual machine, we need to install the server, guys. We need to install the server in this Linux virtual machine. Right, that server name I'm going to give as Tomcat. Right, Tomcat something I'm giving as the server name, guys. Now inside the server we need to deploy this application. See here, whatever the application, right, developers are uploaded in the source code repository, that application we need to deploy in the Tomcat server, guys. Where this Tomcat server is available? In the AWS cloud. Right, here we have created one virtual machine, and inside the virtual machine we installed one Tomcat server. In the Tomcat server we need to deploy this application, guys. As it is, directly we won't deploy the application. We need to do lot of things, guys. We need to do many things before going to deploy the application in the server. What we need to do, that I will explain, guys. See, guys, here as a DevOps engineer or as a DevOps and AWS engineer, what is your roles and responsibilities, guys? First, guys, as a first step, you need to set up the infrastructure, guys. As a first step, you need to set up the infrastructure. First step, you need to set up the infrastructure, guys. Set up infrastructure. Set up infrastructure, guys. Right? So infrastructure setup means what, guys? Infrastructure setup means what? You need to create the machines, guys. Virtual machines we are created, right? So we need to create the machines and we need to install the required softwares, guys. Right? Softwares installations. Software installations we need to do. Next here, servers you need to take, and servers we need to set up. right? Servers, right? We need to set up server setup. We need to do, and here databases we need to set up, guys. Databases we need to set up. Database setup we need to do, and here, right? And network, guys. Network, storage, all these things we need to set up, guys. Here, after database, right? Network you need to set up. Network we need to set up, right? After that, storage you need to do. It's storage also required. Storage you need to set up, and after that, right here, power, right? Power you need to set up, right? All these things you need to set up, guys. All these things will come under infrastructure setup only. As a DevOps and AWS engineer, what is your roles and responsibility? As a first step, you need to create the infrastructure to deploy the application. Infrastructure setup means what? See, guys, you need to create the machines in the cloud, and you need to install the required softwares in those machines, and you need to set up the servers, you need to set up the databases, you need to take care of the network and storages and power, everything you need to set up. So all these things will come under infrastructure only. Okay, so this is the first step which we need to do. Okay, so once infrastructure is ready, next, guys, developers are uploaded the code into the source code repository. Now we need to download the code from the source code repository. As a second step, download the code from source code repository. Download the code from source code repository. Source code repo, guys. We need to download the code from source code repository, guys. Okay, so after downloading the code, are you going to deploy that code directly into the server, guys? No, guys. Here the code which developers are uploaded, the code, right, developers are uploaded in the source code repository, that is a high level language. Right, our computer, our system can't able to understand that high level language, guys. Then what we need to do? We need to compile that code, and we need to build that code, and we need to package that code as a artifact, guys. Here so many classes are available, so many files are available. Then what we need to do? We need to package all the classes, all the files as one artifact. So here, after downloading the code, we need to, right, build the code and create the artifact, guys. Here compile, we can say as compile and package the code. Compile and package the code as artifact, guys. Okay, so after this third step, we need to do the code review also, guys. Code review also we need to do. Code review means what you will do, how the developers are written the code, whether they followed the coding standards or not, whether they have written the test cases or not, all the test cases are success or not, code coverage how much is there. As per industry standard, code coverage must be 80%. Now it is there 80% or not, all these things we need to review. Right? For that, we will use some tools to do the code review, guys. As fourth step, we need to do the code review, guys. Right? Once code review is success, then only we will deploy the application into the server, guys. Here, deploy the application into server. Then deploy the application into server, guys. Okay, right here, after deploying the application in the server, we need to monitor, guys. That I will come to here later, guys. Observe up to here, observe here, observe carefully up to here. Observe carefully up to here, guys. Guys, right, if you go to any company, we can see these three teams, guys. We can see these three teams. What three teams? Right, development team, testing team, and operations team. Guys. These three teams are available, guys. Right, what development team will do? What is the job of development team? As per client requirement, they need to develop the application by using some programming languages. After development is completed, they need to upload that code into the source code repository. With that, developer job is completed. So next, what is the role of testing team? Right, testing team will test the application, guys. Right, once you deploy the application in the server, testing team will test the application whether it is working as per client requirement or not, guys. Okay, after that, here what operations team job, guys, right? Whatever the code developers are uploaded into the source code repository, right? Here operations team will take that code, they will compile that code, they will create a package, and they will do the code review, and they will deploy that application in the server. That is the job of the operations team, guys. Observe carefully. Right here, what operations team is doing here, whatever I mentioned, all these are the operations team activity only. What they need to do, if you want to deploy the application, simple example, guys, I want to start one restaurant business. If I want to start restaurant business, first I need to create the required infrastructure or not. Right, for restaurant business, what infrastructure is required? Building is required, kitchen setup is required, dining setup is required, right? Some right staff is required. All these things I need to make it ready first. Then only I can start the business, guys. Here also, if you want to deploy the application, first you should have the required infrastructure. Then only you can deploy the application. Right, then what you need to do first? First you need to create the infrastructure. Where you are creating the infrastructure, if you want, you can create that infrastructure on your company also. That is called as in-house infrastructure setup or on-premise infrastructure setup. If you do that, so many problems are there, guys. What problems are there? Right, what problems are there, guys? Right here, power you need to take care, network you need to take care, database, and all these things you only need to take care when you go for in-house infrastructure setup. Suppose due to any reason, guys, right, your servers got crashed, guys, then automatically whatever the application you deployed in the server, that application also will not work. Right, customers can't able to access that application. Right, whenever server got crashed, so your application will go to down, so people can't able to access. See here, due to heavy rains, network is not working, power is not there, then what you will do? Continuously 1 week heavy rains are there, so there is no generators, inverter, all these things are not working. Then what you will do? Obviously your servers will stop, right? So your application also will down, people can't able to access the application. So like this, so many challenges are there, guys. To avoid all these problems, right, cloud computing came, guys. In the cloud computing nowadays, infrastructures we are creating in the cloud only. No one is creating on premise, guys. Okay, fine. Here we are using which cloud computing? AWS cloud we are using. In the AWS cloud, first I have created one Linux virtual machine and I have installed one Tomcat server. In this Tomcat server, I want to deploy the application, guys. Okay, guys, observe carefully. Here, to create the infrastructure, what tools are available? To create the infrastructure, what tools are available, guys? Here, infrastructure we can create in two ways, guys. Infrastructure we can create in two ways, guys. What two ways are there to create the infrastructure? What two ways are there to create the infrastructure, guys? First one is through GUI you can create, guys. Through GUI you can create the infrastructure, or right, by using IAC. IAC means infrastructure as code. By writing some code also you can create the infrastructure, guys. In the AWS, as IAC tools, what we have, guys? We have cloud formation templates. Cloud formation templates. Right, this is one of the IAC tool, guys. This is one of the IAC, infrastructure as code service, guys. Right, at the same time, we have Terraform also, guys. By using Terraform also, you can create the infrastructure, guys. By using Terraform also, you can create the infrastructure in the AWS cloud, guys. Right, guys, if you want to create the infrastructure through GUI, you can create, or by writing some code also you can create. Right, companies are expecting, right, creating the infrastructure by using Terraform. Nowadays, companies are looking for Terraform, guys. Who knows Terraform very well to create the infrastructure? Right, companies are looking for those people only. So here we are going to use Terraform to create the infrastructures. Terraform. Okay, fine. So next, guys, right, after creating the missions and all, I need to install the softwares, guys. I need to install the softwares. Right here, I have 100 servers, guys. In all the 100 servers, I need to install the softwares, guys. I need to install some packages, guys. If you want to connect each and every server manually, and if you want to install the required packages, it will take a lot of time. Right? Multiple system admin peoples are required. To avoid that, right? In DevOps, we have one tool to install the packages, right, quickly, guys. Connect with all 100 servers remotely and install the required packages quickly. For that, we are going to use Ansible as the configuration management tool. Right, for installing the softwares and all, we are going to use Ansible as the configuration management tool. What is this? Configuration management tool. Configuration management tool, guys. Perfect. Okay, fine, guys. To create the infrastructures, we are using Terraform, right? To install the packages and all, to configure the packages, right? We are going to use Ansible, guys. Very good. Here, as a source code repository, what tool we are going to use? Here we are going to use GitHub as the source code repository tool. GitHub we are using as the source code repository tool. Developers will commit the code into this GitHub repository only. Next, I want to download the code from the GitHub repository. If you want to download the code from the GitHub repository, here you need one client software. As a client software, we are going to use Git, guys. We are going to use Git, guys, as a client software, guys. By using this, we are going to connect with the GitHub repository and we will clone the project, guys. We will clone the project. Very good. Next, guys, right here, after downloading the code from the GitHub repository, what next step I want to do? I want to compile the code and I want to package the code as an artifact. For this, here we are going to use Maven, guys. Maven we are going to use as the build tool. This Maven we will call it as the build tool, guys. By using Maven, we will compile the code and we will create the artifacts by using Maven, guys. Do you know other build tools, guys? Do you know other build tools? Right, we have Ant is there, Enant is there, Gradle is there, guys. These are also build tools only. But Ant, Enant, those are outdated. Nowadays, companies are using Maven or Gradle, guys. Some of the companies are working with Gradle also. Okay, here in our sessions, we are going to discuss Maven, guys. Fine. So here, code review, guys. Here we need to do the code review, guys. How developers are written the code, whether they followed the coding standards or not. They have written the test cases or not. All the test cases are passed or not. Code coverage is 80% is there or not. Everything we need to check. Do you want to do all these things manually? Can you able to do manually all these things? No. Developers are writing hundreds of files. How we can do manually all these things? It is very difficult. For that, here we have one tool. By using that tool, we will do the code review. For that, we are going to use SonarQube. SonarQube we are going to use for code review purpose, guys. Code review purpose, we are going to use SonarQube at here. Okay, so code review is done. Everything is success, guys. Now, I want to deploy the application in the server, guys. For that, here we are going to use Jenkins. Jenkins is the main key role, guys. Jenkins is going to play a main key role at here. By using Jenkins only, we are going to deploy the application into the servers. Guys, up to here clear? Up to here clear, guys? Please respond. What is the developer job? Just developing the application and uploading the code into source code repository. Right after that, operations team is responsible to deploy the application in the servers. Operations team is responsible to deliver the application to client. If operations team want to deploy the application in the server, first what they need to do? First they need to create the infrastructure. Then they need to download the code from the GitHub repository by using Git client. After that, they need to compile and package the code by using Maven build tool. After that, they need to perform the code review by using SonarQube. After that, they need to deploy the application by using Jenkins, guys. Up to here clear? Please respond. You guys are not responding. How I can proceed? How I can understand whether you guys are following or not? Please, guys, please respond. Up to here clear? Hey guys, why you guys are thinking to give the response? Very good. Very good. Now observe carefully, guys. If you want to manage your application in the single server, then Jenkins, with Jenkins we can do, guys. We can stop with Jenkins. Right? If you want to deploy the application in the single server, and if you want to manage the application in the single server, then with Jenkins we can stop, guys. With Jenkins we can stop. Right? Okay. At least please respond on chat box, guys. Respond on chat box. Okay. Sorry. Fine, guys. But now my requirement is I want to manage the application in multiple servers, not in single server. I want to manage the application in the multiple servers. Means what, guys? Before going to send the application in production environment, before going to deploy the application in the production environment, you need to test that application in multiple environments, guys. Before going to deploy the application in prod environment, we need to test that application in multiple environments. So that application should run in all the environments, guys. Right? Companies have the environments like this, guys. Right? They have the environments like this. See, guys, they have dev environment. Right? They have dev environment, sit environment, UAT environment. Right? Pilot environment, prod environment, so etc. Right? They have the different environments like this, guys. Before going to deploy the application in the prod environment, right, we need to test our application in multiple environments. So you need to run your application in multiple environments, guys. Okay. If you want to manage the application in multiple environments, then we need to go for Docker and Kubernetes also. Docker and Kubernetes also we need to use it here, guys. Okay, right? Docker we are using and Kubernetes also we are using it here, guys. Okay, once, right, guys. Right now, application is deployed successfully in the Kubernetes cluster, guys. Once you deploy the application in the cluster, we need to monitor that application, guys. And we need to monitor that Kubernetes cluster also. Right here, cluster is nothing but what, guys? Group of nodes, we will call it as the cluster. Right? We have the control master node is available and multiple worker nodes are available. Let me show that cluster, guys. Let me show how that Kubernetes cluster look like. Kubernetes cluster, guys. Go to images. Kubernetes architecture. Kubernetes architecture. Okay, fine, guys. See, observe this diagram, guys. Observe this diagram. Here, control plane is the main master node, guys. These are the worker nodes. Worker node, each node we will call it as one instance, guys. Worker node 1 is one instance. Worker node 2 is one instance. Control plane is one instance, guys. Worker node 1 is one virtual machine. Worker node 2 also one virtual machine. Control plane also one virtual machine. Like that, you can attach multiple worker nodes to the control plane, guys. Right. So all these things, the group of all these nodes, we will call it as the cluster, guys. Now, right, we need to deploy the application in the right cluster, guys, Kubernetes cluster. Now here, I need to monitor, right, how my cluster is running, how my worker nodes are running, right, how much CPU my worker nodes are utilizing, how much memory my worker nodes are utilizing. Everything I need to monitor. For that, here we are going to use some monitoring tools also. Here, to monitor the cluster, to monitor the Kubernetes cluster, we are going to use some monitoring tools, guys. What monitoring tools you are using, guys? Right, monitor Kubernetes cluster. monitor Kubernetes cluster, guys. For that, we are going to use some monitoring tools, guys. What monitoring tools you are using, guys? We have Prometheus and Grafana. Prometheus and Grafana. Right, these two tools we will use to monitor the cluster, guys. How my cluster is running, how much CPU my clusters are utilizing, how much memory my cluster is utilizing. To monitor all those things, we are going to use these two monitoring tools, Prometheus and Grafana. So now you may ask a question, right? Application is deployed in the cluster. Application is deployed in the cluster. How that application is running? Right, all the requests are successfully processing, or any request got failed. I want to monitor that application also. Not only cluster logs. I want to see the application logs also. Then what monitoring tool is required to monitor the application, to access the application logs? Right, for monitoring application, for monitoring application, we are going to use ELK. ELK, guys. ELK stands for what, guys? ELK stands for the combination of three open source products. ELK stands for the combination of three open source products, guys. What? Elastic. Right, Elastic. Right, Elastic. See, guys. ELK stands for what, guys? The combination of three open source product, guys. What three open source? Elasticsearch is there. Elasticsearch. Next one is Logstash. Next one is Kibana. Kibana, guys. So these are the three open source products, guys. ELK stands for combination of three open source products. What three? Elasticsearch is there. Logstash is there. Kibana is there. What Kibana will do, what Logstash will do, what Elasticsearch will do, we will discuss that. We will discuss that, guys. Practically, I will show everything. Practically, I will show everything, guys. Okay? See, guys, observe carefully. Fine, guys. See, observe carefully, guys, here. Observe carefully. So all these things will be taken care by the operations team only. Right? And one more thing, here we are creating the artifact, right? After creating the artifact, I need to upload this artifact in the Artifactory repository for the future purpose, guys. Maybe in future I want this artifact. Then what you need to do? Upload this artifact in the Artifactory repository. As a Artifactory repository, we are going to use Nexus. Artifactory repository. As a Artifactory repository, we are going to use Nexus, guys. Okay, if you upload the artifact in the Artifactory repository, tomorrow if you want to use the same artifact, you can download from here and you can use it, guys. You can download from Nexus and you can use this one, guys. Guys, have a look into this. All the DevOps tools are covered or not? Right, first tool which we are going to discuss is Maven. Second tool which we are going to discuss GitHub. Third tool which we are going to discuss Jenkins. Fourth we are going to discuss Tomcat. Right, fifth we are going to discuss SonarQube. Next we are going to discuss Terraform. Next we are going to discuss Ansible. After that we are going to discuss, right, so this Docker. Next Docker Swarm. After that Kubernetes we will discuss. Next we will talk about these monitoring tools Prometheus, Grafana and ELK stack, and we will discuss Nexus Artifactory repository also. Here whatever the tools I have noted yesterday session, here whatever the tools I have noted, all the tools are covered or not in the diagram. Have a look into this, guys. Here whatever I mentioned, all these tools are covered there or not? Maven, GitHub, Jenkins, Sonar, Tomcat, Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Docker Swarm, Kubernetes, Prometheus, Grafana, ELK, Nexus. All these are covered or not? Anything we missed here? Anything is missed? Right, everything is covered, guys. Everything is covered. See, guys, here GitHub we are going to use as a source code repository. GitHub we are going to learn as source code repository. Maven we are going to learn as build tool. Right? Next here, SonarQube is the code coverage tool. SonarQube is the code coverage tool. Jenkins is the deployment tool. Tomcat is the web server. Right? Terraform is the infrastructure tool. Ansible is the configuration management tool. Docker is the containerization tool, guys. Docker Swarm and Kubernetes, these two are the orchestration tools. Prometheus, Grafana and ELK, these are the monitoring tools. Nexus is the Artifactory repository tool. Nexus is the Artifactory repository tool, guys. Right? So guys, more right. GitHub only most of the companies are using. GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket, all these are the right same versioning tools only. If you know one, remaining all are same. Committing process is same, merging process is same, branching process is same, everything is same in GitHub, GitLab and Bitbucket, guys. There is no difference. Okay, all these three are versioning tools only. Okay. GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, all these are the versioning tools only. There is no difference, guys. GitHub and GitLab both are Git products only. GitHub and GitLab both are Git products only, guys. Is it clear, guys? Right. So now observe very carefully, guys. Earlier, guys, right, all these are from second step to till last step. Everything is the manual process, guys. Everything is the manual process. Whenever developer commit the code into the GitHub repository, right, then right operations team need to download the code. Operations team need to compile the code and package the code. They need to perform the code review. They need to deploy the application in the server. They need to monitor that application. This is completely manual process. Right, guys, tell me, in a day, how many number of times developers will commit the code? How many number of times developers will commit the code? Many times. Many times, guys. 100 times also they can do. Right? If they add simple comma and full stop also in the code, they need to commit in the GitHub repository. Right? If they add simple comma, simple full stop also, they need to upload those changes in the GitHub repository. Whenever developers are upload the code in the GitHub repository, immediately we need to download the code, we need to compile the code, we need to deploy that application in the server. All these things we need to do one by one, guys. How much time is required to do all these things one by one, guys? How much time you need to spend? Lot of time you need to spend. Because of that, what is happening, guys? Delivery process is becoming late. Delivery process is becoming late, guys. Right? So until you deploying the code, testing team need to wait to test the application. Right? So by that time, right, developers will do one more commit. Again, you need to do all these processes, guys. Right? Again, testing team need to test the application. Because of this, delivery is becoming late. To avoid that, right? So, right, to avoid all these things only, DevOps came into the picture. By using DevOps, what we are going to do? Same, guys. There is no difference. Whatever the things we are doing manually, all these things we are going to automate by using DevOps. Understood? What is DevOps? Just DevOps is a process or it is a culture. By using DevOps culture, we are going to automate the deployment and delivery process. Earlier, this deployment and delivery is the manual process, guys. And if you want to do manually, it will take lot of time, guys. Because of that, delivery also becoming late, guys. To avoid that, DevOps came into the picture. DevOps is nothing but what? Just it is a culture. Just it is a process. Just it is a set of practices. By using this DevOps culture, what we can do? We can deploy and deliver the project quickly. We can deliver the project to client as early as possible by using this DevOps culture. Is it clear, guys? Where we will be working in operations. Right, here only, right? This is what I am telling, guys. Right, this operations team are nothing but DevOps team only. DevOps team only, we will call it as the operations team, guys. Okay, so once operations team is deployed, once DevOps team is deployed the application in the server, then testing team will come and they test the application, guys. In that server only, right, testing team will access the application from that server and they will test the application, guys. Okay. Right now, tell me, I think you got, right, you guys got the clarity. What is DevOps? DevOps is just a process. It is just a culture, just a set of practices. By using this DevOps culture, we are going to automate deployment and delivery process. Earlier, this deployment and delivery is the manual process. Because of that manual process, delivery is becoming late. To avoid that, only DevOps came into the picture, guys. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear? Please respond. Very good. Very good. Guys, just have a look into this DevOps tools, what we are going to cover now. So now you guys will get the clarity which tool we will use for which purpose. So what is the purpose of each and every tool? Now you guys will get the clarity. Right? Argo CD, I'm not going to cover it here, guys. Argo CD, I'm not going to cover it here. Here, generally, we will use Argo CD for continuous deployment process, guys. Right. So instead of using Argo CD here, I'm going to show how to deploy the application by writing the script, guys. Here I'm going to show, right, how to deploy the application by writing some script. Guys, I will tell one thing, guys. That if you guys are at the beginning, you guys are asking lot of tools. Not only your batch, guys, every batch. And at the beginning, you guys will ask lot of tools, guys. At the end, right, if it is extended right time, right, they only again asking how many days it will take again. See, if I want, I can add Argo CD also here. Not a problem. Right, again, one more week we need to spend for Argo CD. But people don't have that much of patience to wait, guys. Again, people, they only asking how when we will finish the course. Right, instead of Argo CD here, I am going to show doing the continuous deployment using some shell script, guys. Even in the CI/CD pipeline also, I am going to write the shell script to deploy the application. Right, we will deploy the application generally, right, so Argo CD, one of the most important GitOps tool, guys. Right, we have Argo CD is there, Flux is there, Jenkins X is there. All these are the famous GitOps tools. Among all those things, Argo CD is the very, very important GitOps tool, guys. Most of the companies are using Argo CD only for doing continuous deployment. But the course will be extended. It will go to 4 months. Right? Fine, guys. Right, today I have given the overview of this all the DevOps tools, right? Tomorrow what I am going to do, right? Tomorrow, right? So on Paint, guys, on Paint, I will explain, right, the purpose of each and every AWS service, guys. Before going to jump into our actual things, first we need to understand high level, guys. At least high level, right? What it will do, right? What is the purpose of each and every service? What is the purpose of each and every DevOps tool? You guys should get more clarity on that, guys. Right, before going to jump into actuals, right? Just I am providing high level, guys. Tomorrow, same I will take paint and I will draw the diagrams for each and every service, and I will give just a high level which service, when we will use which service, guys. Okay, so after that, right, we will jump into our actual things, guys. Is it okay? Right. So if you one person, okay, right, that is not sufficient, right, Kiran? We'll discuss that end based on the time limit and all those things. We will discuss at end based on the time, right? So we'll discuss. Is it clear, guys? Tomorrow I will explain all these services. High level I will provide about all these services, guys. What is the purpose of EC2? On diagrammatically I will show and I will explain, right, the purpose of each and every services in tomorrow's session. After that we will jump into actual Linux sessions, guys. Okay, is it okay for everyone? Okay, now you guys got the idea on DevOps tools. Right here, what is this build tool, right? What is the right version controlling source code repository, Jenkins, SonarQube, Tomcat, Terraform, Ansible, Docker Swarm, Kubernetes, and these monitoring tools, Nexus, and all, guys. Same, I will provide the idea about all these AWS services also in tomorrow's session. Okay. To provide any problem or critical task which we have solved, right, to explain in interview. Yes, guys, I will already, I told it yesterday, right? I will give a lot of scenarios, guys. Those scenarios you can explain in the interviews. Those scenarios you guys can explain in the interviews, guys. Right, what problem you guys faced, right? So how you guys are resolved those problems, all those things, right? I will explain, guys. Okay, fine, guys. For today I'm stopping. Right, tomorrow, right, please join at same time, guys, 8:30. Tomorrow we will try to understand all these AWS services high level, guys. Okay, from next session onwards, after that, after tomorrow next session onwards, we will start the Linux, guys. Thank you, guys. Good night. Good night, guys.